And so, tonight, you know, I don't live in this area, although I did about in the last millennium, late 70s and early 80s, you know. I remember the Burnham 13. Some of you Navajo people, Dene people remember that? That was fighting this coal mine up here. And I was just a young girl, and I was, you know, I just couldn't understand how a company could come and take someone's land and their water, just like that, you know. And that's when I started working down here, was back then. But, you know, I don't live here now, but what I know is that it is not looking good in terms of what is going on with the climate. What I know is that we got more CO2 in the past 100 years than we had since the Ice Age. You know, and that the US is the largest emitter of CO2. I know that the polar ice caps and the ice shelves are melting and falling in, that polar bears are not expected to live for another 50 years. I know that all kinds of creatures, insects, are coming in, and they're having more of them, like up in Alaska, they got double clutches of beetles because it's warmer. And I know that they're predicting more droughts and more major storms. And I'll tell you one thing we do not need. We do not need another $2 billion coal-fired power plant. We have an opportunity to do something here to say no. You know, I've been around enough to know that the last energy economy of coal and nuclear and oil and gas is not the next energy economy. That is not the plan for the future. That is not the plan that is going to protect our water, leave us some land upon which to grow and protect our air. That is a different plan, and that is the plan that we have to put our hearts and our minds and our prayers to. I think that many of you know that, you know, that they aren't making any new water. The water we got now is the same water that they had when dinosaurs were here. You know what I'm saying? It's not like you can go and, I mean, they got plenty of it bottled by Pepsi and Coke. But we ought to be able to have some water. And we sat there in the back room and was trying to figure it out. We figure out that this coal-fired power plant they are proposing, they gotta go down 6,000 feet to get water, right? And when they get it, 1.4 billion gallons a year of water they're going to be using for that power plant. You know, that's a lot of water in a desert. That's a lot of water in a desert. It's about the amount of 3 Shiprocks stacked on top of each other. That's how much water they're talking about in 1 year. 1.4 billion gallons a year of water. We don't have that kind of water to give away for corporate profits. So how can you make a difference? You know, come in here, I know you came to hear the musicians. And I know some of you came because you really believe in trying to stop this power plant. And some of you may not have known much about this. But what I want to say is that we got to end corporate welfare to these energy corporations. It's the biggest business in the world. And they don't need any more corporate welfare. They didn't need the $2 million they got through the Dene Power Authority from the Navajo Nation. Probably could have spent it over at IHS. We could be making sure that there was enough food for the kids. They didn't need the $85 million that try to get out of the New Mexico legislature. And they didn't get that money out of the New Mexico legislature. They tabled it. Because people like you here raised your voice and said, don't give them any corporate welfare. Don't give them our tax dollars to pollute our air, take our water, and destroy our future. That was because people raised their voice. That's why the New Mexico legislature didn't give them that $85 million. And they don't need any more tax breaks from the Navajo Nation or anyone else. These are big corporations, and they're doing pretty good. That $2 billion would be much better used in a just transition strategy for the Navajo Nation. That is to say that, we have the privilege tomorrow night of being over in Flagstaff, where some of the Dene people and the Hopi people have been fighting a power plant that I fought back when I was 17 or 18 too in support of them. The Mojave generating station, that using all that coal that they were slurrying out of the Black Mesa coal strip mine. 273-mile coal slurry. I mean, talk about a waste of water. But that thing got closed down 2 years ago. The Mojave generating station got closed down. You know why? Because no state is buying carbon. Nobody wants, it's kind of like having really bad karma trying to sell carbon right now. And the Navajo Nation doesn't need to be selling any more carbon into world markets. They closed down this power plant, and the Navajo and Hopi people, to their grassroots groups to start with, and then the council said, you know what? When you closed down that power plant, we lost jobs. We lost 350 jobs when they closed down that power plant. And but for all those years, you took our water, you took our land, you took our coal, and we feel like that when you go to these big markets and you can get a payback for not polluting, the value of that payback is $40 million a year. And those Navajo and Hopi people said, we want that money to come back to our community, and we want you to use that to make a renewable energy economy here at Navajo. And that's what I am saying, is $2 billion buys a lot of wind turbines and a heck of a lot of solar panels. And that is the energy economy we need here in Shiprock and Farmington. We don't need another coal-fired power plant. We need something that is a just transition, that it provides employment, but something that's for the future. And we also, for the rest of you who may not be from right here, we need to get our act together and conserve. That's the reality. We are, I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings, but we're pretty much a bunch of addicts. We feel entitled to plug in, power up, juice up, and that level of consumption means we aren't going to have any water, and our descendants aren't going to be able to live in this ecosystem.